So what do we have here? We have a box from a friend of mine who has been breeding some pretty cool Apistogramma and has sent me some of them. This box arrived on time from FedEx. Breather bags. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. Should be one more. Oh, there he is. 13. And these are all Apistogramma species Miua. A nice little blackwater Apistogramma from tributaries of the Rio Negro. And that's what we're setting the tank up for. A few days before those fish arrived, I set this 30-gallon breeder aquarium up to accommodate the fish. If I'm going to use a small heater that's located in the back of the tank, I actually set this heater at about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. My room stays a little warmer than that. The filter is a Poré foam cube filter, 5-inch, for the 30 ppi porosity, and a jet lifter I get from SwissTropicals.com. The substrate that you're seeing going to the tank now, this is an aqua soil, SL Aqua specifically, and this particular product is designed for plants, but it is a pelletized humic soil, which means it's going to help keep the pH down. And the way I use it is I pile it up in the middle of the tank. I actually want a pretty good layer. This is not exactly in the middle, it's more towards the back edge of the tank. Once I have the pile of aqua soil roughly in place in the middle of the tank, I'm going to start aquascaping the space with some wood. This is Malaysian driftwood. I like it because it provides tannins for a long period of time, and it provides pretty good places for the fish to spawn. I pile the wood in pretty densely. I want to provide lots of hiding spaces. I am going to start this aquarium off with a lot of Apistogramma, and then over time, as I identify pairs, I'll pull a few of them out. But eventually, this aquarium will house at least 2 pairs, probably more like 2 males and 3 or 4 females of those Apistogramma species Miua, and there will also be some ditherfish in the tank as well. So I want a lot of cover. Once the basic aquascape is in place, I use a spatula to smooth out the aqua soil a little bit, to kind of take that big hump down to a more gentle slope. The next step is to cover the open space and cover the top of the aqua soil with a very thin layer of sand. I like to keep a lot of leaf litter and other organic matter in the tanks with my Apistogrammas. Helps the pH to stay low. These are pieces of catappa leaf that have been soaked in water, but they haven't been soaked enough yet to stay down. So I'm actually sticking them into the substrate so that they'll kind of stay on the bottom. Eventually they'll sink to the bottom and there won't be any problem. The last thing that I'm going to add to this tank are a few spawning sites. In this case I'm using coconut shells and a little terracotta pot with a small opening in the top. I separate them away from each other, but I do keep them kind of out in the open, which allows me to observe whether the females are using the spawning caves or not. The last thing that I'm adding to this aquascape are a few more pieces of driftwood to break up the line of sight between the spawning sites and provide more cover for the Apistogrammas. The water going into this aquarium is going to be reverse osmosis water. I use a black worm worm keeper screened bottom cup to allow water to go into the tank without disturbing the substrate and making the water too cloudy. When the water is deep enough to prevent the flow coming from the hose from disturbing the substrate, you can take that cup out. The last step is to get back in here with the spatula, maybe uncover those leaves a little bit and move the substrate around and make the tank look just a little more spiffy. And here it is. Here is the completed 30-gallon aquarium waiting for those Apistogramma species Miua. I apologize for the huge chaotic mess that my new fish room is in. I'm still in the process of moving from the old warehouse into the basement. So I have these new fish, these Apistogramma species Miua. I am going to acclimate them to the tank that we were setting up a little earlier in the video. The thing about breather bags is you can't float them in water with the fish in them. So the fish are going to have to come out of the breather bags and go into a cup, and then I will then be able to acclimate the fish that are in the cup. All I'm going to do is slice the bags, let the fish out into the cup. Now we can get a little bit closer look at these fish. Some big male, smaller male. So we have one female who's not doing so well. They're only 1 out of 13. That's not bad. So the temperature inside the cup is 74 degrees. Temperature in the tank is 72 degrees. It's not a significant difference, so it's not going to take very long for the water inside the cup to match the water outside the cup as far as temperature goes. Now, one thing I'm going to look at is pH. The pH in the cup, in the bags where the fish came from, was about 6.0. That's good. That indicates that if there was any ammonia in the bag, it's probably not going to be dangerous ammonia. And the pH in the tank as we planned is also about 6.0. Actually a little less. That's great. Not too worried about the pH as far as acclimating goes. So I'm not actually going to mix water. All I'm going to do is let that sit for about 10 minutes to get acclimated to temperature. Then I'll pour these fish through a net and we'll let them go in the tank. Right, water temperature feels about the same. I'm going to very slowly pour these through the net. And we're going to let them go in the tank. If you have a lot of aquariums, never forget to mark the tanks. So the Apistogramma Miua have been in this aquarium for about 12 hours. They went in this morning at about 9 a.m. and they are now, it's about 9 p.m. at night. And they're really shy. Every now and then one of them will pop his head out. But pretty much they're doing what brand new Apistogramma in a tank should do, which is hide. So this tank has got plenty of biocapacity for more fish. And I'm going to go ahead and add some more fish to the tank. I'm going to add some dithers so that the Apistogramma might feel a little more comfortable and come out. The fish that we are going to add to this aquarium is a big school of another Rio Negro species, cardinal tetras. And I know that the Apistogramma purists watching this video go, "Oh no, those tetras are too big, they're going to eat all the Apistogramma fry." And my response to that is, if I want to spawn these Apistogramma, I'm going to do it in a much smaller aquarium without tetras in it. But the purpose of this aquarium is to be a nice little Rio Negro watershed biotope. So I've got a nice black water Apisto and a nice black water Tetra. Yep, so here we are 24 hours later. Everyone's a little shy. They're coming out a little bit. Let's throw in a little bit of blackworm. Alive and wriggling. Oh, they're coming. They see them. Here's a big male. Cardinal's getting some ideas. Maybe they're going to come out too. Maybe if those cardinal tetras come out, that the cichlids will feel a little more comfortable. There we go.